Good morning. We're now March 24. It's 11th, not 11th, 12th or 13th. Anyway, whatever the date is. Going to attempt today. Tony's coming over. Going to attempt today to cure this leak we've got. Means taking the front wheel out. I believe maybe dropping the rad. Find out where this is coming from. So yeah, we're really cracking on. Like to get it started and get it running a little bit better. So to do that, we need to fix the leak. So let's get on with that. One thing I should have mentioned is this is not a how to do it video or vlog or all of them. This is my journey at rebuilding my bike. It's not it's not teaching you anything, and don't do what I do just because I do it. I'm an idiot, but whatever I do there is for my benefit and not for anyone else's. Not that I'm not appreciative of people that comment, and it's very nice when people comment, but this is not teaching you how to rebuild a bike per se. It's just my journey to the end. Something a tad different. I bought this very cheap tyre inflator off of eBay. It's £17. And what you do is you put it in tyre, you set the tyre pressure you want, you press and release the trigger, and away it goes, pumping your tyre up. Now I thought for 17 quid, not going to be a lot of bottle, but I just pumped one of the tyres up. I checked the tyre pressure before, and it said it was quite low. It was about 18 psi. Put this on, and it measured it at 17 psi. Set it at 32, set it going, pumped it up to 32, took 2 or 3 minutes from 17 to 32 to blow it up. Checked it afterwards, bang on 32. Checked it with 2 different gauges to make sure it was good. So for 17 quid, if this gets smashed up, who cares? It's a decent little tool. It's not going to last, but then for 17 quid, do you really want it to? And it depends how accurate it's going to be long term. But I'll keep an eye on it, see how it goes. Okay, as normally happens, I get frustrated at every turn. Done the leak, put the battery on. Battery's been on charge. It is an old battery, so I've only got myself to blame. But battery's been on charge for 2 weeks. Put it in, turned it over a couple of times. Now it won't turn it over. Battery's flat. So new battery required. I'll order that up this afternoon. Everything else is done. So the leak is done. Put the water back in it. It's just a case of get the battery and starting it. I was a bit not concerned, but the clutch is working fine. The plates are lifting, but it must be a couple of plates that are stuck. They've been in there 4 or 5 months with no oil. So although they was installed with a lick of oil, it's grabbing a bit. But I haven't been able to start the engine and slosh the oil around with the clutch done, because I found the leak before I done the clutch. Then I done the clutch, had to fix the leak. You know what I mean? So probably only going to be a short video. Going to order up a battery, and next time you see me, I'll be putting the battery in. Welcome back. Got a new battery, and just in case, got a new start solenoid. Some other bits and pieces came. My laser thermometer. And I got some plastic blades for, although a bit late now, but when you're cleaning off the gaskets off the surfaces, it's plastic, it's sharp as hell, but it doesn't damage the surfaces. I also got some of this tester tape. It's for specifically, it's like a fabric tape that wraps around your loom. Where I've put that rectifier on, I'm just going to go over it with some tester tape, keep it all nice and safe. So You couldn't make it up. New battery on. New battery, just about kicking it over. So I've got her back on charge. I'm sure there's fuel inside. Maybe, maybe not. So we'll put her on charge for a bit, see what happens. I'm pretty sure I've got fuel, but I'll have to double check. So the other thing that's happened is the old fork is leaking. Now, a lot of that is my fault, and it's my fault because I didn't get new seals. I thought there was no point. The forks that are in it are no good, or at least the bottom tube with the lug on. So just for the build, I put the old ones back together as they were with the old seals and everything. I wasn't expecting them to be good. The last part of this build will be to get the new forks when I save up all my pennies. But that's in the future a little bit. The other thing I've got to do is these two up here. Got to get these down, get new rubber on them. They did have new, oh god, they did have new bearings and seals and everything in there some time ago, but they've never been used. So they've got to come down. Then all that lot up there, plastics. Got to decide what's happening with that. Whether I'm preparing it, whether I give it to someone else to prepare, but it's all cost, and the cost is mounting up. I think in total, so far, it's cost me quite a bit of money. I could have bought another one. But this is my one, and I wanted to do this one, and I wanted to know from every nut and bolt that it was done properly by me. So I know everything is done, everything is good, and I haven't got to worry about it. Okay. I was editing this episode when I was putting it all together and found there's a huge chunk missing. So I'm going to do it now, insert it in, you won't even know it happened. So, new battery went in, was a bit flat, charged it, was great, kicked it over, could smell petrol. Well, that's a bit weird. Looked down, my feet were covered. It was peeing out. Lifted the tank, my own silly fault. Got new fuel line. One of the fuel lines, the return, is intricately shaped. It's got two bends in it. The return is just a straight pipe. So I used the old one. The old one was hard, crusty, and where that was trying to bend round to the fuel pump, it had split. Just peeing fuel everywhere. You couldn't really make it up. So the other thing was I'd actually bought new fuel hose. The only downside of the new fuel hose is it's supposed to go in that, but it's the hose I've got is too fat. It won't fit in there. I mean, I think this is just like some kind of heat shield or just to isolate the rubber from rubbing on other things. Anyway, replaced it. Battery was on charge. Left it overnight. Came back next day. She sparked straight into life, and that's what you see in the video. So this little section is going to get inserted into the video, so it's all there. absolutely no lag. Okay, so we've got to the stage now where I'm going to be dismantling this bit. This is the tail section from the glorious GSXR 1300, and this is the under tray. Now, I'm not opposed to it, but someone's fitted these repeaters on the side, which I feel is a good idea, but the wiring just needs to be sorted out. But the main thing is I've got to get these ready because obviously going to go to paint. So I need to decide what the next step is really. So I've got that to do. As I've mentioned before, I've got to get that wood off of them rims and sort that out. And sort out a bit of this. A bit of the old wiring. But that's what I'm going to do, and that's how I'm going to proceed this morning. Missing a cover. I think that is actually in here somewhere. It was. That bit might have broke off. There and there. Those bits. Put them bits together. It's coming on nicely. Oh. Be nice to see me, wouldn't it? Something else that happened. My nickname. Dusty's Hayabusa. Very good friend of mine, John Coombs. We done a race practice, not practice day, but race instruction day at Darley Moor. And in my inimitable style, when I got to the chicane, I always ended up on the grass, kicking up a load of dust. So I was the joke of the day then, and my nickname stuck. Especially with them guys anyway. So strip that down, strip this back bit down, and then see where we go from there. Okay, just to finish up, have a clean up. I'll show you around the bike what I've done. So there's been some rerouting of the cables and new clips, keeping everything out of the way. Air scoops have been tidied up. Cleaned up the back. These are stripped, ready to go to paint. Got some more bits and pieces up there. Bit of an impasse. So I'm gonna have a tidy up, put stuff away. Bike starts lovely. Got some bits and pieces to do, some things to order. I've got the tank secured. Yeah, there's not much left to go, so there'll probably be a gap now. I'll reiterate, this is not a how-to video. I'm not trying to teach how to do it. This is just my journey of getting my baby all sorted and back out on the road. There'll be some delay now. Obviously, with going to paint, I've got to speak to someone who can do that. Got all the plastics up there. So, front mud guard, 2 side panels, the under trays, the rear seat unit, and the hump, the rear hump that goes on the back. I'm going to have to do some R&D so you can do a decent job there. So this has been a long, a long journey, and I'm glad it's coming somewhere towards the end. But I still haven't got the bottom tubes for the forks. That's going to be another £1,000, 900 quid, and God knows how much the respray is going to cost. I'm estimating probably, I don't know, 1,500, 1,700 quid to get the panels sprayed. Might come down if I prepare them, which I could do. I could probably prepare them and give them a primer coat, and then it's just a case of top coat. And I need to find out if they want the panels on the bike so they can mask it up. You know, how they're going to do it. So until the next time, this coming up to Easter weekend 2024, and we're racing in Pembury in middle of April, so we've got some bits to do. Unfortunately, Tony had an off on the wet bike, so not a great deal of damage. The usual suspects: bar end, rear set, fairings. So our good friend Sean, I think Sean Wallace, is going to lend us some fairings because the new fairings just won't come in time. So we can take that to Pembury. Being South Wales, it's bound to rain. So morning. It's Easter weekend. This was a lovely weekend. My birthday yesterday. All the family over. It was lovely. Always lovely. Always great to have all my family around. I had a lovely meal. Anyway, today it's going to be slightly different today because this has come. Now, anyone that's got a Yamaha Tracer, early one, I think 17, 18, 19, the early ones, 7s, have got this switch gear. And what happens is the return spring breaks. So this is your normal cutout switch, but then added to the end of that is the start button, which flicks back. And on mine, it's broken. And it broke after about 18 months. So obviously a fault, and I know everyone else's. And I know it's a faff to get, on my 7, it's a faff to get the tank off and everything else to get to this. And this one, although, I mean, we're 2024 now, I've had the bike 6 years. Mine's a 2018. Mine's in much better condition than this, apart from this one works. Now the danger is I've got a friend who bought my nephew's Tracer 7 and didn't realise it was broken and left it running with the starter motor running, and obviously eventually burnt out his starter motor. So you have to be really careful, and I do try it and make sure, because I know it's broken, that it's in the run position, not on the start position. So today I'm going to try and decide, if I take the internals out of this one and put it into mine, or actually change the whole thing. There is some discrepancy over the length of the lead, because the MT-07s are slightly shorter, and I don't know if this is the short one or the long one. So that's something else I need to take into consideration when I decide what to do. But first, what I think I'll do is take this apart and just see how easy it is to change the spring. So I've just taken this apart, just gradually to see really what I need to do to repair this, or to change this, rather than strip all my tank down. And because, as I say, my switch is in much better condition than this. So here goes. Let's take the rest of it apart and I'll show you what's inside. Okay, I don't know if you can see that in there, that tiny little spring. That's what's obviously broken in mine. So I think it's going to be easier just to change this. So I'm going to give that a go. Okay, so a bit involved. If I take the mirror off, a bracket for the mirror, and the lever, the brake lever, to actually release the switch. So hopefully now it's just a case of taking off the cover, seeing what's the matter with the old switch, putting the new switch, the new spring in, and hopefully everything will be working fine. Okay, what a faff. Now I've got this one back on, and as you can see, it's now returning lovely. It's quite an intricate piece of stuff inside there. It's not as cheap and nasty as you might think. But what a faff. Gear lever off, screen off, gear lever. Brake lever off, screen off, mirror off, bracket, all of that just to get this off. But at least I haven't had to take the tank off and everything. And I'll just show you what happened. Okay, so that's done. Everything's working fine. This is the old one. Not the old one, the one I bought second hand off of eBay. The spring wasn't broken, which I thought it was. And that's the cap. That's the top half. That's the bit with the actual button in it, which in this one is catching on something. There is a ball bearing in there, and that's obviously not being pressed in because the other section's not in. But unfortunately, when I tried to put this in, it snapped off. Now that's not. It's only being held on by this little tiny bit. It wasn't fixed here. Maybe it was. It's glued there. Don't know. I can try and epoxy it, which I might do. But basically, what happens is when that bit is on there, this bit here, it's got a little knurled end that the spring sits on. And then if I can just do this little bit, that spring actually fits in this little gap here. And what happens is, so then when it's in there, half the spring is on the contact side and half the spring is on the casing, which pushes it back. And I dare say what happened was that it slipped off. It slipped off of this bit here. This is the bit that moves inside. So that bit moves in there, and half the spring sat on that shoulder, and that's what pushes it back. Anyway, because mine was in a better condition than this one was, that's what I decided to do. Unfortunate that I broke that. My fault. I will desperately try and epoxy that back on, and we'll see how that goes. And if that works, be a nice spare, maybe. So that will go in the spares box along with all the other gubbins. But at least mine's working and all back together. A bit of a faff getting to everything, but all done.